Live from the Pines, it is your East Texas sports podcast coming at you live tonight. Before we get started, I want to give a big shout out to our guys at Zilker Belts. Use discount code PINES936 for all online orders to receive 25% off. But, it's a big night. I'm going to let the man himself introduce himself, Riley Dodge.
Well, I appreciate you having me, man. Been following y'all's account from afar and hit you up just to let you know y'all doing a great job. I was actually in Longview this past week at the Piney Woods Clinic, so fitting that come join you tonight.
Well, Riley, I'm sure everybody knows you, but if they don't know you, you are the head football coach and athletic director at Southlake Carroll High School. If y'all don't know, Southlake had a chance to play for a state championship this year, played against Austin Vandergrift. Came up a little short, but, it's on the next season. But, let's get started.
Sure.
Let's talk a little bit about you, your career, and where it all started at.
Yeah, high school coach's kid, traveled all over the state of Texas, followed my dad around and played at Southlake Carroll, was a quarterback there, and then played university. I was committed to University of Texas for a long time and ended up going to play for my dad, University of North Texas, and then finished my career at McNeese State University in Lake Charles, Louisiana. And then after I got done playing ball, hopped into GA and analyst roles at A&M and University of Texas. Spent 5 years on the college side, and then hopped into high school ball. First high school job was the office coordinator at Marcus, and then got the Southlake Carroll job. So it's been a fun ride, and all I've known is a high school field house. So I'm living my dream.
All right. So, you had a hell of a career in high school, played high school ball, like you said, committed to University of Texas, went and played for your dad in North Texas and all those good things, finished up at Lake Charles. What was it like being the son of a, Texas high school football legend, your dad, Todd Dodge? Like what was that like?
Yeah, it was awesome. I really didn't know anything else, to be honest with you. Growing up around his football teams and his locker rooms, it wasn't always rainbows and sunshine. We were at Cameron Yo in Central Texas near Temple. We were at Newman Smith. We were at Foster Ridge, and through some really good years and some not so great years. And then we got the Southlake in the early 2000s. So, but just to watch his career, and obviously he got an opportunity to coach me as well. So it was a definitely learning experience for me.
Yeah, people don't really know Cameron Yo. That's a football town. Yo is always in the postseason. I think they always match up. I think Franklin.
Yeah,
them and Franklin always seem to match up each other. But all the other schools were legendary places. Then you get the chance to go to Southlake, and like I know, and everybody else from Lufkin knows, Southlake and Lufkin. That's a huge rivalry game right there. And you had a chance to play in it a couple times, correct?
I did. My sophomore year my sophomore year in Nacogdoches. I was a little bit of a Swiss Army knife on that 05 team. I was a punt returner, kickoff returner, played receiver, and I was the backup quarterback to Greg McElroy. And I actually threw a touchdown in that game on a double pass early in that ball game. And ended up being one of my college teammates. He hit me. I threw the ball, AJ Pinson, and so I always give AJ crap about that. But no, we had some unbelievable battles. An old Floyd Casey the year before at Baylor, to in 02 in Waco, and that was a heck of a football game. And we always knew, if you got through Lufkin, you had a chance to win a state championship, and we always, found a way to get through that game. But there were some big time battles.
So, you having the chance to, be in the locker room now still as a coach and get to, see the kids coming up through the program and everything. What do you think the difference is in the kids, today compared to you guys back in the day playing Smash Mouth football?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a lot of difference. I think these kids still want to be held accountable, especially in our locker room. They want to be held to high standard each and every day. They expect their coaches to be on their P's and Q's, 24/7. So our kids want it, There's a hunger in our field house to go get another one. We're getting closer and closer. Obviously, this last year we didn't finish the finish the mission. But we're back in the laboratory trying to figure a way to get get our ninth state title. But no, I think for us, our kids have been the same. You do some different things change, football changes, but our kids are all about it.
And like I said earlier, family friends, which y'all start quarterback, the kid can run.
Yeah, Angelo's is a dynamic football player. He was a little bit banged up early in the regular season, had a bad turf toe, so we had to take care of him a little bit. So as we got late in the regular season into the playoffs, we were able to really use his legs, and he's a dynamic playmaker, and he really showed out this past year.
That's great. And, he's only a junior, so you get another year with him. You got a lot of kids coming back, and, if you didn't know this, people watching, you lost two of your key pieces of your offense in that playoff run,
Yeah.
You had to move receiver to running back, I believe.
Yeah, we lost Riley Wormley, who's at USC right now. He's an early enrollee. We lost him week 5. He was playing on state player of the year caliber on that type of level when he got hurt, and he was playing lights out. And then Davis Penn, who's a junior running back, who's going to Baylor. So, obviously going into the year, we had 2 Power 4 running backs, so we were pretty blessed to have that at the high school level. Kind of a 2-headed monster, and then lost both those guys, and then we had a backup wide receiver, became a running back, Christian Glenn, who did an unbelievable job, but had a couple of injuries on defense as well. But it's a battle of attrition. That's football, right? You got to find a way to continue to evolve, and in our locker room, it's always about next man up, and we got a lot of young guys that are coming back. We got we call about 8.5 to 9 on offense coming back, and 8 on defense. So we were a young football team, played with quite a few sophomores as well. But we got a battle tested locker room right now, and we're on the early stages of off season right now since we play so late.
That's great. So pretty much every day, your kids come into football and, they're ready to get after it, off season, in season, talk a little bit about, what's y'all's approach? It's January, everything's restarting right now, and we're getting ready for next year. How do y'all approach, the upcoming season?
Yeah, so like right now, so tomorrow we hop in our first day of boot camp, which we call Dragon Maker. We'll do that until they want to get out of it, and it's just a rite of passage in our locker room, in our field house. I went through it. I was laughing with our staff the other day when you started getting Dragon Maker. All the details planned out as a coaching staff, my palms start sweating a little bit because I remember those days as a player, waking up early in the morning, going through Dragon Maker. But our kids, that's what they expect. I remember when I got the job here in 2018, I got the job late in April, and they hadn't done Dragon Maker yet. And I had some rising seniors come up to me and say, "Coach, are we still doing Dragon Maker?" I was like, "Heck yeah, we're doing Dragon Maker." But they wanted it. They knew that they had to do it, and they would never become a football team if they didn't do it. So we'll go through Dragon Maker, obviously track, your typical offseason, spring ball. We'll probably not do as many practices as we have in the past with spring ball with the veteran group. We'll still get after it in late April, early May. And then we really make our hay in the summertime. Obviously, we're going to get after it during off season, but it's a shortened off season for us. So we play so late, and we've played, into the semifinal state title week and quarterfinals, since I've been here. So we really make our hay in the summertime. We really take advantage of that. And then obviously fall camp in August.
That's kind of a flex. A lot of people don't get to say they get to play in December, get to play up, right the week before Christmas. And I know you for sure, but, that's a Southlake Carroll tradition. You don't see Southlake many times. I don't think I've ever seen Southlake not playing after Thanksgiving for sure, and not playing in December.
Yeah, I'm very blessed to have amazing kids, and amazing administration, amazing coaches that everybody's bought in. Every day is a new day. We're going to worry about Tuesday tomorrow, and that's all we can worry about. We got 3 goals in our field house: is win a district title, practice on Thanksgiving, then win a state title. And then, but the one thing you'll never see us do is overlook an opponent. We never look ahead. We always have blinders on, and we're one day at a time type of program.
That's great, man. I know a lot of people wanted me to ask you this, especially from Lufkin. So, you always see little dragons. Then you get to middle school and you got kids playing, football year round, basically in Southlake. It's just what y'all do. But can you talk a little bit about how y'all start y'all's career early as a little dragon?
Yeah, I mean, I think our secret sauce, is we're still one horse town in a growing metroplex. Everybody around us is a multi-school district. There's a few around the metroplex, but we're one of the lucky ones to be a one horse town. It starts in Dragon Youth football for us. That's the found. A lot of coaches, across the state or around the country, the beginning or the foundation is laid in the middle school. I'm lucky enough to say our foundation starts in Dragon Youth football, and so we got 1 million kids playing football. My boys are in it now. I have a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old. My 9-year-old played tackle football for the first time this year. My 6-year-old's playing flag. But every team in our town, everybody's the Dragons. So we don't have NFL teams or college teams. Everybody's the Dragons. Same thing with our elementary schools, our intermediate to middle. There's only one logo in town, which is really special.
That's something that, Lufkin for sure is working on, getting better at is, the little leagues, they're doing a great job trying to get, better those programs and everything. But, one thing that we have in common as towns is, and you can attest to this because you know a lot about Lufkin yourself, but football is everything. And I think a lot of our parents are getting away from that. Football's a dangerous game. We all know it, but a lot of people in Lufkin, I guess you wouldn't say everybody played football. It was a choice, and I think back in the day, everybody wanted to play ball. Everybody wanted to be a Lufkin Panther, and I think that's what we're trying to get back to. Get back to wanting to be a Lufkin Panther. Like I say all the time in my shows, and I tell people all the time, when I grew up, I didn't want to be, today's kids, Daniel Jones, Patrick Mahomes. I wanted to be Ralph Thomas, Jaworski Lane, Des Bryant, all the greats that came through and paved the way for us at Lufkin. We looked up to those guys. Watching you guys play each other. I was 5 years old, I believe, when you played against Lufkin. We knew what was going on. We knew who we were playing. You knew when you saw the blonde heads come out. We knew what was going on. It was playoff football, and it was excitement to us. We looked forward to those games. I remember the car ride home from Nacogdoches. I was 5 or 6 years old, and I was pissed off to say it was a cart. It was a quiet car ride home. The same from Waco. I remember those things. It wasn't much talked about.
Yep. No, absolutely. That's how football, and that's how it should be. And I was the same way when I grew up in this town, and when I grew up in different field houses across the state of Texas. I wanted to be just like my dad's football players. I wanted to, when we're in the hallways, when I was in elementary school and intermediate school in Southlake, Texas, you didn't see a lot of Dallas Cowboys jerseys or University of Texas jerseys. All you saw was Dragon jerseys and replicas of the high school football players, and that's all we wanted to be. There were those mini celebrities in town, and I think that still holds true here. I think obviously there's a lot more going on than there was with social media. A lot of different options for kids nowadays, but yeah, we're fighting still. We're fighting to still hold on to that small town community feel. We do have people that move in from the East Coast, the West Coast, young families that maybe not know much about Texas high school football. They just want to.
They learn quick.
Well, yeah, they learn quick, and so that's something that we hold dear here, and we try to brainwash them a little bit.
Yeah, like I told you before we started, I always go up north to the same people. You coached your quarterback, their nephew, up north in Jersey area, and this time around we watched the Texas game. We beat Arizona State. Wasn't much to do after that game, and I showed them the Outlaw documentary, and they were so shocked that people in Texas care that much about high school football and how big football was in Lufkin and Southlake, because they're getting to see it now from y'all's experience and everything y'all have accomplished. I don't think people realize how big it is in the state of Texas and how much it means to us. It's watching the Horns play, the Cowboys play, basically. We tailgate these things. People take off work early for these. Towns shut down on Saturdays for these things. It's a big thing.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's our town to a T. You look, Dragon Stadium's jam-packed as we pull the buses up, and they could be a non-district game, district game, and people are tailgating like it's SEC game. And but that's special. And I don't take that for granted because I know it's not like that everywhere. I'm fortunate to be the head football coach back in my hometown, but it definitely is special.
You mentioned earlier, talk a little bit about your relationship with John Outlaw.
Yeah, I love Coach. Obviously, wish he was still around. Has some great stories of Coach, and I know my dad and him respected, the crap out of each other as as coaches, but also competitors as well. And I almost became a Lufkin Panther, to believe it or not. My Going into my sophomore year, my dad had the opportunity to take the head coaching job at Rice, and he hadn't really got the opportunity. I was on the varsity football team as a freshman. I was a little bit of a reserve and didn't play a lot. Obviously, as a pup, if you're playing with a bunch of freshmen at our place, then there's a problem. but going into my sophomore year, he had the opportunity to take the head coaching job at Rice, and we talked about it. There wasn't a lot of places in Houston that he wanted me to play high school ball at, but he also wanted to coach me. He goes, "The only place I'd take you if I took the Rice job was I'd drop you off in Lufkin, and Coach Outlaw was going to take full guardianship of me, so I'd be living with Coach Outlaw." So that's a story that a lot of people don't know. That me and my dad laugh about a lot, but it was close to happen. There was conversation.
So you're telling me you could have been a Lufkin Panther?
Could have had the purple hat on and the pack across the side of my helmet, but he ended up not taking the job and stayed here. But there was definitely conversations about it.
That's crazy. That's real crazy. That would have been hard for you to do. You grew up a Dragon, and you basically go to enemy territory. That's like your dad being Mac Brown and saying one day, "Hey, I'm gonna take the job at A&M, and you're going to play at A&M."
It would have been interesting because I would have definitely seen Southlake Carroll again. So
you would have definitely seen him again. That would have been crazy. That's crazy. I want to talk a little bit about your state championship game when you're playing quarterback and you throw up against Austin Westlake and you complete a touchdown pass.
Yeah. So I got banged up in the second round. We played Odessa Permian out in West Texas at Texas Tech. I broke a couple ribs and got a bad high ankle sprain. So I was.
You still played?
Yeah, I was still playing. It ran me inside, took a couple shots, and then ran me back out. But I was pretty banged up the playoff run. I couldn't do much with my legs, and that was a big part of my game. And we get to the state title game, and the adrenaline was running. The ribs were feeling better, and the ankles feeling better. And I just started running around, got a little waterlogged, dehydrated, and it would get really, really humid in the Alamo Dome. And it was that, had a zero pressure, and I felt it coming on and had to throw up and get the ball snapped. So it is what it is. You gotta keep chugging along. And yeah, I get that question a lot.
Y'all won that game, and you had some banged up ribs. You said, what else? You had ankles hurt. All this stuff's hurt, and you still played.
Still played. Yeah.
I've seen kids today, sit out for a lot less.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer of this, man. When I walk through the door, I'm not going to scare you, and with my physique, but I was going to try to do my best to be available for my teammates and to be on the field. And also, I think too, what was ingrained in me as a coach's kid. You were gonna have to drag me off the field, but also just what we instilled in our locker room at Southlake Carroll is even though it was a state title game, you're always afraid if the guy behind you got in, you might not ever see the field again. And because we created such great competition inside of different position rooms. And no, I knew I could battle through it, suck it up, and be out there for my teammates.
That's great, man. That's huge. Getting a little bit into your career. So I'm not for sure, but you were coaching in the Panhandle before Southlake, right?
No, I wasn't in the Panhandle. So when I got done, so my first job was at A&M with Cliff Kingsbury. I was there with Johnny Manziel and the Heisman year. So that was my introduction to coaching. That was an absolute blast. The year we won the Cotton Bowl against Oklahoma. And then I went to University of Texas after that. I was quarterback quality control for Matt Brown's last year with Major Applewhite, and then Charlie Strong's first year. And then after that, I decided to get into high school ball. So I was at Flower Marcus up in the Metroplex for 2 years, and then Jerry Stanford, who's at Texas High now, had the choice to go with him to Texas High or stay back in the Metroplex, and I decided to stay in the Metroplex. I went to go work for one of my mentors, Bill Poe, at Northwest High School for 1 year, and then the Carroll job came open. And when the Carroll job came open, I just threw my name in the hat, and obviously didn't have any head coaching experience. Had a couple of head coaching interviews, so I had some experience in the room, but just threw my heart on the table, and they gave me the opportunity.
So when you saw that Southlake job came open, obviously you're going to throw your hat in the race, but like, what was going through your head when you saw, your hometown, the school you got to play for, the school your dad left a legacy at? What was it like, when you saw that job come open?
Well, to be honest with you, I wasn't going to throw my name in the hat if it wasn't for my wife. And I was telling my wife, Alexis, I said, they ain't going to hire a 29-year-old. I'm just going to tell you that right now, that has no head coaching experience. I know that place way better than anybody does. And she just kept pestering me about it. And I threw my name in the hat. And, when Hal Wasson stepped down, who actually coached me my senior year in high school, who I think the world of, I just applied and made a phone call. And, after a couple conversations, I got in the room. And I know they brought in a lot of really good candidates, and they had a lot more head coaching experience than I did. But they decided to stay with the hometown kid, and the rest is history.
And you thank Southlake for that, man, because a lot of places won't do that. That's that's major right there. There's a lot of guys out there that wish they could go home if they had the opportunity, and a lot of places, a lot of places, have guys that are qualified and ready to make that move, and they just miss out. It might not even be missing out. It just might be that wrong time, right person.
Yeah,
and,
I'm a firm believer. Right time, right place. Through prayer and having good people around you, things happen. But like you said, administration in Southlake Carroll, and Carroll ISD, they had to have some guts. To stick their neck out for a 29-year-old at the time. Like I said, they didn't have a head coach experience, because some of the best coaches in the state of Texas are coordinators that are just waiting for their opportunity. And that's one of my favorite things now is been doing this now, just wrapped up my 7th year here, talking to coordinators across the state of Texas for advice. And, I do believe I'm blessed that my first head coach job was at Southlake Carroll. But I do believe your first job is the most important job. There's no perfect job, but I'm very fortunate that they gave me this opportunity.
And like you said, some of the best coaches in the state are coordinators, and there's one sitting in in Fort Worth right now, North Crowley. I know his name's in a lot of people's rooms right now going around.
Yeah, he's a sharp dude. I've been running a quarterback wide receiver camp for the last 4 years, and he's been working it with me for the last 4 years. So I have an opportunity to be around Coach and picking his brain. And we got a lot of young coordinators across the state of Texas that come in and work my camp. It's been really fun to work with those guys.
Yeah, that's that's great to hear. I'm glad to hear that you're giving back to the young quarterbacks, receivers, because if anybody knows, you have the knowledge at the quarterback position, and you played a little receiver, so you know that position very well too.
Sure.
Taking over the job at Southlake, obviously it comes with a lot of pressure. Your dad, Hal Wasson, as you said, all the greats that came before those guys. What was that? What was that like? Going in your first season, you get the opportunity to be the head coach at Southlake. What's it like? Going back home.
Yeah, it's not easy, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of, I don't care if it was me or someone off the street that got this job. There's high expectations. And, as a competitor, that's the type of programs you want to be associated with. You want to be associated with programs that have high expectations and, expect championships. And that's what I expect out of us and myself as well, but I do remember, my first year or 2 years here at Carroll, just, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of grinding, trying to get things off the ground. Obviously there's a culture, there's a blueprint set in place that had never really gone away, but at the same time, I needed to put my own spin on it. And I think the worst thing I could have done when I first got to Carroll was be someone that I wasn't, try to be my dad or try to be Hal Wasson or be another coach. Cliff Kingsbury, I had to be myself, and obviously take little pieces of those guys that I've been very fortunate to be around through my coaching career. And, I think the biggest thing was making sure these kids knew at the end of the day, there's a lot of pressure to win football games here, but we play a game, and we play a game that we love, and we're going to have fun, and we're going to enjoy doing what we do.
Well, you did a great job. I forgot how many years it took you, but you meet your dad in the state championship game, Austin Westlake versus Southlake, Carroll, Quinn Ewers versus Clay Klubnik. Two guys that had a great college football season this year. One had a chance, well, both had a chance to play in the playoffs. One made it to the semifinals, and you coached one, your dad coached the other one.
Yeah, it was really neat. Now, obviously, my dad played at Texas, and so I got to work there as well. So to have my quarterback that I had the opportunity to coach in high school in Quinn, I got the opportunity to go see him twice this year. Once at Texas when they played Georgia the first time, and then we got to watch him in the Cotton Bowl. So I'm just super proud of his high school career, his college career, the young man and the man that he has become in front of our eyes. Has been a lot of fun to watch.
That's great. So you meet Longview in the playoffs this year, and we get a big penalty play at the end of the game, go basically to end the game. What's your thoughts on that call?
Yeah, it was definitely a penalty. I think that it's I will say that when you're in that moment, I've never been a referee or a white hat, and me and Coach King both laughed at the game. We spent some time together this past weekend. He's unbelievable. I mean, I've really looked up to him from afar for a really, really long time. And I told him pregame as we were just, kind of shooting the bull. It was an absolute honor to be on the same field as him and get an opportunity to compete against each other. So that was definitely the first thing that came to my mind entering that game. But the play you speak of, it was definitely a penalty. At the same time, it's tough to make that call as a white hat and in such a big moment, for sure. But yeah, that's football. Coach King's been there. I've been there. Unfortunately, it was the last play of the game for them. And, I think probably for our kid, Gavin Strange, the kicker, I mean, to see the ball not go through the uprights the first time and the ball just move up 5 yards and just running the kicker penalty, for him to settle in, take a deep breath, and then to hit the second one, that ain't easy. So, it was a hard fought football game versus two programs that really believe in the same things. Two blue collar programs as physical as any football game you'll see. But yeah, it was a heck of a contest.
Somebody wants to know: does the Dodge Bowl come up at Christmas?
The Dodge Bowl come up at Christmas. It did the first Christmas. It did the first Christmas, even though it was in late January. It was a weird year because it was a COVID year. That was the longest year of all of our lives in the coaching profession. But it did come up the first year. But, even though it wasn't too far ago, I mean, it was 4 years ago now, which is crazy to think. But, I think as the years progress, it's going to be one of those things that we're going to look fondly on. Obviously, it didn't go the Dragons' way that evening. But, very cool that a dad and son, the largest classification in the state of Texas, got an opportunity to compete because we were actually supposed to play each other first game of the year at AT&T in a non-district game, but it got canceled because of COVID. And so
you get to play each other twice.
I was obviously, the way I speak of it, I know my dad speaks of it, that would have been an invitational. And obviously we both earned our right to make that game with them being North Shore in the semifinals, us being Dunkville. We both earned it. And, but yeah, it has been spoken of for sure.
I can only imagine, the conversation y'all get to have with both y'all being high school football coaches then and now again. I know y'all probably have some interesting conversations about ball, obviously. But one thing I wanted to ask you again, holidays, Thanksgiving. Have you ever had a real Thanksgiving?
It's the first time I've seen. No, I haven't. Not since I've been here, or all my times coaching college football. But this is my first time I've had Thanksgiving with my family, my mom and dad, and my little sister, since I was probably in college, probably like freshman year of college. So it's been a minute. So it was good to have them up in the Metroplex now, and we just drove across the Metroplex to McKinney and got to have Thanksgiving with them on that Thursday after we practiced in the morning, and so that was fun for us as a family.
So getting ready for the 2025 season. I know it's a couple months away, but it'll be here before we know it. What do y'all look forward to this year in Southlake as far as the 2025 football season?
Yeah, got a lot of work to do. There's no doubt. I'm excited. I think going into this past year, I really didn't know what type of football team we'd have. We had so much inexperience. We had two on offense and two on defense coming back, and now we have call it 8-8 or 9-8, however way you look at it. So, but we have an experienced football team, battle tested football team. So I have high expectations of this group. There's no doubt. I do think that is you can have a veteran football team, but that doesn't mean you're going to make it back. So we're going to get everybody's best shot each and every week, and we got to put the work in.
Well, Riley, with the national championships on, I know you got to get back to the family, but man, we thank you a lot for coming on Live from the Pines. It means a lot to us, and I definitely look forward to getting you back on the show before the football season starts. And thank you again. It means a lot to us.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Y'all keep doing y'all's thing, and anytime I can come on and chat and talk a little ball, I'm all about it.
Well, Riley, thank you again. If you don't know now, you know who the man is. Riley Dodge, head football coach, athletic director, Southlake Carroll High School. Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.